In the chaos of modern life, our instinct is to respond instantly, to defend, to prove, to attack back. But the Stoics taught us something radical. Power is not in the words we speak, but in the control we keep. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Daily, you always own the option of having no opinion. Things are not harmed by silence." Today, we will explore why silence is not weakness, but a weapon. And if you can master it, you will command respect, guard your peace, and control the course of every conflict you face. Rule 1. The nature of silence in Stoic thought. Settle in now. Let the noise of the day fall away from you. Release the need to speak, to explain, to defend. Release the tension in your jaw, the part of your body that holds your words. With each slow, deep breath, feel yourself sinking into a profound stillness, a quiet harbor where the frantic energy of the world cannot reach you. This time is for silence. It is for listening. It is for understanding one of the most misunderstood, yet most powerful, tools a man can possess. We live in a world that is terrified of silence. We fill every available moment with noise, with music, with podcasts, with chatter, with the endless scroll of opinions. We mistake loudness for strength and a quick reply for intelligence. We believe that to be silent is to be passive, to be weak, to have nothing to say. But the Stoics, the ancient masters of the human soul, knew the truth. They understood that true silence is not an absence. It is not an empty space. Powerful silence is a presence. It is the presence of discipline. It is the result of a mind so well-ordered, so self-controlled, that it does not need to spill itself out into the world with careless words. The great Stoic teacher Epictetus, a man who endured the powerlessness of slavery, gave us a timeless piece of wisdom. He said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This was not just a clever remark. It was a core principle of a strong and centered life. To speak is to expend energy, to reveal your position, to make yourself vulnerable. To listen in silence is to gather information, to understand the landscape, to conserve your power. We must learn to distinguish between 2 very different kinds of silence. First, there is fearful silence. This is the silence of the man who is afraid to speak his mind. He's afraid of being judged, of saying the wrong thing, of provoking conflict. His silence comes from a place of weakness, from a need for approval. It is a hollow, anxious silence. He's not choosing to be quiet. He's being quiet because he lacks the courage to speak. Then, there is powerful silence. This is the silence of the man who has the courage to speak but chooses not to. His silence is a deliberate act of will. It is a strategic choice. He's not afraid of the other person's judgment. He is simply so secure in his own that he feels no need to defend it. He is not overwhelmed by emotion. He has mastered it. His silence is a shield, a statement, and a sign of immense inner strength. It is a quiet, solid mountain, unmoved by the winds of chatter around it. This is the silence we are here to cultivate. The silence of discipline. The silence of strength. As you drift towards sleep tonight, I want you to reflect on the silence in your own life. When you were quiet today, where did it come from? Was it the silence of fear or the silence of power? Be honest with yourself, without judgment. Now, visualize yourself tomorrow in a conversation or a meeting. See yourself choosing a moment of powerful silence. Instead of jumping in with a half-formed thought, you choose to listen. Instead of reacting to a comment, you choose to observe. Feel the sense of command that comes from this choice. You are not a passive participant. You are the calm, centered observer, gathering wisdom while others are merely making noise. This is the first step on the path of the silent warrior. To understand that the most powerful man in the room is often not the one who is speaking the loudest, but the one who is listening with the most profound and disciplined attention. Rest now in the rich, deep, and powerful presence of your own quiet mind. Rule 2. Silence as emotional armor. You are resting now in the deep and powerful presence of a disciplined mind. You have begun to understand that true silence is not weakness, but a profound expression of inner strength and self-control. You are learning the difference between the silence of fear and the silence of power. Now, we must take this powerful tool and learn how to wield it as armor. For in the battlefield of daily life and our interactions with others, we will inevitably face provocations. The world will try to breach our peace. It will send insults, criticisms, and challenges intended to throw us off balance, to make us lose control. This brings us to our second lesson, understanding silence as your most effective emotional armor. Breathe in deeply and think of the last time you were provoked. A condescending remark from a colleague, an unfair accusation, a passive-aggressive comment from a family member. Remember that immediate, hot flash of emotion, the surge of anger, the sting of hurt, the desperate need to defend yourself. In that moment, you were caught in an emotional trap. This is the psychology of what is often called baiting. People provoke you, often unconsciously, for a reason. They are seeking a reaction. Your emotional outburst, your anger, your loud defense, your frustration is the prize they are looking for. It serves a purpose for them. It validates their power over you. It confirms that they can affect you, that they can pierce your calm. It shifts the focus from their poor behavior onto your overreaction. When you explode with anger, you have just handed them the victory. You have taken their bait, and now you are on their hook. The Stoics were masters of recognizing and disarming this trap. They understood that an immediate, emotional reaction is a confession of weakness. It is an admission that the other person's words have found their mark and have successfully breached your inner defenses. Consider the great Roman statesman, Cato the Younger, a man famous for his unshakable integrity and stoic resolve. His political opponents would constantly insult him in the Roman Forum, trying to provoke him into a rage in front of the crowds. They knew that if they could make him lose his temper, they could make him look foolish and uncontrolled. But Cato rarely took the bait. He would often meet their most vile insults with a calm, unwavering silence. He would simply stand there, looking at them, utterly unmoved. His silence was not weakness. It was a devastating weapon. It communicated to everyone watching, "Your words have no power here. You cannot touch my inner peace. I will not grant you control over my emotional state." This infuriated his opponents more than any witty comeback ever could have. His silence was a shield they could not penetrate. He denied them the reaction they craved, and in doing so, he maintained his dignity and exposed their desperate attempts for what they were. The practice for you is to begin to see every provocation, every insult, every attempt to bait you as a test of your emotional discipline. It is an opportunity to put on your armor of silence. Tomorrow, when you feel that flash of heat, that urge to react, that is your signal. It is the moment to deploy your new skill. Instead of lashing out, you will do nothing. You will breathe. You will look at the person calmly. You will create a space of powerful silence. In that silence, you are not being passive. You are actively disarming them. You are refusing to play their game. You are denying them control. You are protecting your own inner peace as your most valuable possession. As you drift towards sleep, visualize yourself wearing this armor. See the insults and provocations of the world as arrows bouncing harmlessly off a polished, impenetrable shield. They cannot touch you. You are safe within the fortress of your own calm. Rest now in the profound security of a man who cannot be easily baited, a man whose peace is not for sale, a man protected by the powerful armor of his own quiet strength. Rule 3. Silence as a strategic weapon. You are resting in the profound security of a man protected by the armor of silence. You have learned to see provocation not as a threat, but as a test you can pass with honor by refusing to surrender. Your inner peace. Your calm is your shield, but silence is not merely a defensive tool. In the hands of a disciplined man, it can become one of the most powerful strategic weapons in your arsenal. In negotiations and conflicts, in any situation where understanding and influence are key, the man who has mastered silence holds a distinct and powerful advantage. This brings us to our third lesson, understanding silence as a strategic weapon. Breathe in deeply and think of a time you spoke too soon. A time you revealed your position too early in a negotiation. A time you offered a torrent of explanations when none were asked for. A time you filled an awkward silence with nervous chatter, only to reveal a weakness or an insecurity. We have a deep-seated discomfort with silence in conversation. We feel a pressure to fill the void, to show what we know, to state our case. But every word you speak is a piece of information given away freely. You are showing your hand. You are revealing your intentions, your anxieties, your strengths, and most importantly, your weaknesses. The man who talks too much is like a general who gives his battle plans to the enemy before the first shot is even fired. The art of strategic silence is the art of withholding. It is the discipline of letting the other person reveal themselves while you learn everything you need to know. Imagine you are in a difficult negotiation or a conflict. The other person makes a statement, perhaps an aggressive demand or an unfair proposal. The amateur move is to immediately react, to argue, to counteroffer. You jump into their frame, playing their game by their rules. The master of strategy does something different. He meets their statement with a calm, attentive silence. He just listens. He holds eye contact. He waits. This simple act does several powerful things at once. First, it is deeply unsettling for the other person. They have made their move and are expecting a countermove. When none comes, a vacuum is created. Most people are so uncomfortable with this vacuum that they will rush to fill it. They will start talking again, explaining themselves, justifying their position. And in their nervous chatter, they will almost always reveal more than they intended. They will reveal their insecurities, their hidden motivations, the soft spots in their argument. You, in your silence, are learning everything. Second, your silence communicates immense confidence. It says, I am not rattled by your proposal. I am not desperate. I have time. The pressure is on you, not on me. This immediately shifts the balance of power. The person who needs the silence to end is the person who is in the weaker position. Third, it gives you the most precious gift. In any strategic encounter, time to think. Time to move past your initial emotional reaction and to formulate a wise, deliberate response. While they are nervously talking, you are calmly thinking, analyzing, and planning your next move from a position of clarity and strength. The practice for this is to become comfortable with the void. Tomorrow, in a conversation, try this small experiment. When someone has finished speaking, instead of immediately jumping in, pause for 3 full seconds. Just hold the space. Watch what happens. You will be amazed at how often the other person will continue, offering you more information, more clarity, without you having to ask for it. As you drift off to sleep, visualize yourself as a calm, deep lake. Others may come to the shore and shout, trying to see their own reflection. But you remain still. You do not need to show them what is in your depths. You are learning to use your silence, not just to protect your peace, but to increase your wisdom and your influence. Rest now in the quiet, focused power of a man who understands that true dominance is often achieved without saying a word. Rule 4. Silence and self-mastery. You are resting now in the quiet, focused power of a master strategist. You have learned to wield silence as a shield and as a tool, protecting your peace and increasing your wisdom in the world. You understand that what you don't say can often be more powerful than what you do. But the ultimate purpose of this practice is not just to win negotiations or to gain an advantage over others. The final frontier of silence is not external, it is internal. The discipline you practice with your tongue is merely training for the far greater challenge. The discipline you must practice with your own mind. This brings us to our fourth and most profound lesson, the unbreakable link between silence and self-mastery. Breathe in deeply, and as you breathe out, turn your attention inward. Notice the noise, the constant chaotic chatter of your own thoughts, the inner monologue that rarely ceases, replaying the past, rehearsing the future, judging, worrying, desiring. This inner noise is the source of all our disquiet. It is the restless energy that robs us of peace, even when we are sitting in a perfectly quiet room. The Stoics knew that an undisciplined mind is like a wild horse, pulling you in 1,000 different directions, leading you into spirals of anxiety and anger. And they understood a fundamental truth. The stillness of the tongue is the first step toward the stillness of the mind. Think of it this way. Every time you speak impulsively, every time you engage in idle gossip, every time you offer a thoughtless opinion, you are feeding that inner chaos. You are taking the restless energy of your mind and giving it a voice, amplifying it, making it more real. You are practicing the habit of letting every inner impulse manifest itself externally. Conversely, every time you choose powerful silence, every time you bite back a reactive comment, every time you refuse to engage in pointless chatter, every time you choose to listen instead of speak, you are performing an act of inner discipline. You are telling the wild horse of your mind, no, I am in charge here. Not every impulse gets a voice. Not every thought gets to see the light of day. This external restraint builds an internal muscle. The more you practice controlling your tongue, the more you will find you are able to control your thoughts. The stillness you cultivate on the outside begins to seep inward, creating a calmer, clearer, and more spacious inner world. The ultimate practices for this journey into self-mastery are, fittingly, silent ones. The first is journaling. This is a silent conversation with your highest self. By taking the chaotic thoughts from your head and putting them onto a page, you perform an act of magic. You separate yourself from them. You can look at them objectively, see their patterns, and question their validity. You are not trying to stop the inner noise. You are giving it a safe, quiet place to be heard, and in doing so, you rob it of its power to control you from the shadows. The second is the practice of meditative stillness. Simply sitting for a few minutes each day and watching the flow of your thoughts without getting caught up in them. Observing them as you would observe clouds in the sky. This is the ultimate training in mental silence. You are not forcing the mind to be quiet. You are discovering the quiet that already exists beneath the noise dot as you drift towards sleep tonight. Embrace the silence not just around you, but within you. Let the frantic need to think, to plan, to worry, begin to settle. See your thoughts not as your identity, but as passing weather in the vast, silent sky of your awareness. The path to self-mastery is a silent one. It is one in the quiet moments of reflection. It is built through the steady, disciplined practice of restraining your tongue, which in turn trains your mind. The man who can be comfortable in silence is a man who is comfortable with himself. He needs no noise to distract him from his own soul. Rest now in the deep, liberating peace of a mind that is slowly, surely becoming its own master. Rule 5. The practical application in daily life. You are resting in the deep, liberating peace of a mind that is becoming its own master. You have journeyed from the outer world of strategy to the inner world of the soul, understanding that the silence you practice with your tongue is the very training that calms the chaos within. Now, we must bring this profound philosophy into the grit and friction of our daily lives. A principle is useless if it remains an abstraction. It must become a practice. We must know exactly when and how to deploy this powerful tool of silence. This brings us to our 5th lesson, the practical application of silence in your daily life. We will identify 5 key moments where choosing silence is always the wisest, strongest, and most honorable path. The first moment is the most crucial. Choose silence when you are angry. Anger is a temporary madness. It is a blinding fog that descends upon your reason. When you speak from a place of anger, you are almost guaranteed to say something you will later regret, something that will cause lasting damage to a relationship or to your own reputation. The words spoken in the heat of the moment are the ones that can never be truly taken back. So, when you feel that hot surge of rage, that is your absolute, non-negotiable cue to be silent. Breathe. Walk away if you must, but do not speak. Wait for the fog to lift. A response given from a place of calm is 1,000 times more powerful than a reaction hurled from a place of anger. The second moment. Choose silence when you are being insulted. As we have learned, an insult is bait. The other person is seeking a reaction to validate their power over you. Your angry defense or witty comeback is the very thing they want. By meeting their insult with a calm, unwavering silence, you deny them their prize. Your silence is a shield. It communicates that their words are insignificant, that they have failed to find a crack in your armor. You preserve your dignity by refusing to stoop to their level. The third moment. Choose silence when the truth is not yet clear. We have a deep-seated need to have an immediate opinion on everything, but the wise man knows that a quick opinion is often a wrong one. When you are in a situation where you don't have all the facts, where the truth is murky, resist the urge to speculate or make a definitive statement. Silence is the posture of wisdom. It allows you to listen, to observe, to gather more information before you commit to a position. It protects you from the embarrassment of having to retract a foolish, hastily formed judgment. The fourth moment. Choose silence when someone is desperately trying to provoke a reaction from you. This goes beyond a simple insult. This is the person who is intentionally pushing your buttons, trying to draw you into a drama. They feed on your emotional response. Your silence is their starvation. Do not give them the satisfaction. By remaining a calm, silent observer, you hold up a mirror to their own chaotic behavior. Often, they will exhaust themselves and simply fade away. And finally, the fifth moment. Choose silence when you know your words would harm more than they would help. Sometimes, you may be right. You may have the perfect criticism or the undeniable truth. But if speaking that truth in that moment would needlessly crush someone's spirit or cause irreparable damage without any constructive outcome, then silence can be an act of profound compassion and wisdom. You must ask yourself, does this need to be said, and does it need to be said by me right now? If the answer is no, then silence is the honorable choice to build this muscle. You can practice daily silence drills. For 1 hour a day, make a conscious effort to speak, only when absolutely necessary. During your commute, turn off the radio and just be in the quiet. When you're online, resist the urge to comment on every post. This isn't about being antisocial. It is about training your impulse control. It is about proving to yourself that you are the master of your own tongue. As you drift off to sleep, commit to watching for these 5 moments tomorrow. See them as opportunities to practice your new skill. Each time you choose powerful silence, you are casting a vote for the strong, disciplined, and wise man you are becoming. Rest now, armed with a clear, practical strategy for bringing more peace and power into your life. Rule 6. The inner reward of silence. You are resting now, armed with a clear and practical strategy. You have learned when to deploy the shield of silence, when to use it as a tool, and how to practice it as a daily discipline. You have become a student of the quiet arts. We now arrive at our final lesson, the deepest and most personal one. We have spoken of how silence is a tool for strategy, for defense, for self-mastery. But what is the ultimate reward for this difficult practice? What is the hidden prize waiting for the man who learns to control his tongue? It is not about winning more arguments or impressing more people. The ultimate reward is internal. It is a profound and unshakable peace. This brings us to our sixth and final lesson, the inner reward of silence. Breathe in deeply, and as you breathe out, think of the beautiful, quiet spaciousness that silence creates. When the external noise of the world and the internal noise of your own compulsive thinking begin to settle, something new has room to emerge. The first great reward is that silence creates the space for wisdom to arise. Our best ideas, our deepest insights, our most creative solutions rarely come to us when we are frantically talking or thinking. They emerge from the quiet. They are a whisper from a deeper part of ourselves that can only be heard when we are still enough to listen. By cultivating silence, you are creating a fertile ground in your own mind for your own innate wisdom to blossom. You stop looking for answers outside of yourself because you are finally quiet enough to hear the answers that have been inside you all along. The second reward is the hidden peace of not needing to explain yourself to everyone. Think of how much energy you expend trying to manage other people's perception of you. Justifying your choices, defending your decisions, explaining your life path. The man who is comfortable with silence learns to let his actions speak for themselves. He trusts his own code. He knows why he is doing what he is doing, and he releases the exhausting need for the rest of the world to understand it or approve of it. This is a profound liberation. It is the quiet confidence of a man who is so aligned with his own purpose that he no longer seeks a cosigner. And this leads to the final, ultimate reward. The man who controls his tongue controls his mind. And the man who controls his mind controls his destiny. Your destiny is not a single grand event in the future. It is the sum total of the small choices you make every single day. The choice to react with anger or to respond with calm. The choice to speak carelessly or to listen with intent. The choice to be scattered or to be focused. By mastering the small, daily choice to be silent when it matters most, you are fundamentally altering the trajectory of your life. You are choosing the path of wisdom over the path of impulse. You are choosing the path of peace over the path of chaos. You are choosing to be the author of your life, not just a character reacting to the script. From today forward, I challenge you. Keep a quiet mental track of every time you consciously choose silence over a thoughtless reaction. At the end of the day, reflect on how it felt. You will discover something surprising. The less you speak in anger, the more your quiet presence is heard. The less you explain yourself, the more secure you feel. The less you engage in noise, the more peace you will hold as you drift off to sleep. Let the silence envelop you like a warm, protective blanket. It is not an emptiness to be feared. It is your sanctuary. It is the source of your strength, your wisdom, and your deepest peace. It is the space where you finally get to meet your true self. Rest now in the profound and powerful silence of a man who is finally, truly in command.